They said cocoa farming is their only source of livelihood.
We are pleading to have a way forward because this day like this, we use this cocoa. That is the only cash crop we have.
Some farmers said price variation is wide and does not favor Cameroonian farmers.
In Douala, they come to my village in Do and buy cocoa at 800 francs. Meanwhile, Nigerians come to my village and buy cocoa at 1,500 francs.
Cameroon price is down much, and we need to get no company for around Manfay.
The government has abandoned farmers in Manu Division, Cameroon, as buyers have been buying at 800 francs CFA, while foreign buyers buy their cocoa at 1,500 francs CFA per kilogram.
We decided now to take the cocoa to a cock to see that Nigerians will come there and collect the cocoa from us. When they collect like that, they even give us some advance.
At the divisional office in Manfay, the Manu SDO, Mr. Vian Mekala, says he will forward their worries to the hierarchy.
When the hierarchy receive our report, they know what to say, the answer to give to the population.
He also frowned and stated that going to the streets during crisis moments was not ideal. The protesters were asked to return home while waiting for action by the state of Cameroon. Over 500 farmers in Manu Division took to the streets protesting and demanding for an open market for their cocoa produce after the recent decision by the state of Cameroon banning the selling of cocoa produce to Nigerian buyers. The farmers say due to the 6 years armed conflict, they have been selling to Nigerian buyers at Ekok, a border town to Nigeria.
You cannot transport cocoa now from here to Douala because of the insecurity. Neither you get losing of that cocoa or the whole vehicle is burned.
The separatist party set ablaze those trucks around Guti with the goods we were carrying. Can you imagine how disheartening it can be to lose your year's work?
They said cocoa farming is their only source of livelihood.
We are pleading to have a way forward because this day like this, we use this cocoa. That is the only cash crop we have.
Some farmers said price variation is wide and does not favor Cameroonian farmers.
In Douala, they come to my village in Do and buy cocoa at 800 francs. Meanwhile, Nigerians come to my village and buy cocoa at 1,500 francs.
Cameroon price is down much, and we need to get no company for around Manfay.
The government has abandoned farmers in Manu Division, Cameroon, as buyers have been buying at 800 francs CFA, while foreign buyers buy their cocoa at 1,500 francs CFA per kilogram.
We decided now to take the cocoa to a cock to see that Nigerians will come there and collect the cocoa from us. When they collect like that, they even give us some advance.
At the divisional office in Manfay, the Manu SDO, Mr. Vian Mekala, says he will forward their worries to the hierarchy.
When the hierarchy receive our report, they know what to say, the answer to give to the population.
He also frowned and stated that going to the streets during crisis moments was not ideal. The protesters were asked to return home while waiting for action by the state of Cameroon. Over 500 farmers in Manu Division took to the streets protesting and demanding for an open market for their cocoa produce after the recent decision by the state of Cameroon banning the selling of cocoa produce to Nigerian buyers. The farmers say due to the 6 years armed conflict, they have been selling to Nigerian buyers at Ekok, a border town to Nigeria.
You cannot transport cocoa now from here to Douala because of the insecurity. Neither you get losing of that cocoa or the whole vehicle is burned.
The separatist party set ablaze those trucks around Guti with the goods we were carrying. Can you imagine how disheartening it can be to lose your year's work?
They said cocoa farming is their only source of livelihood.
We are pleading to have a way forward because this day like this, we use this cocoa. That is the only cash crop we have.
Some farmers said price variation is wide and does not favor Cameroonian farmers.
In Douala, they come to my village in Do and buy cocoa at 800 francs. Meanwhile, Nigerians come to my village and buy cocoa at 1,500 francs.
Cameroon price is down much, and we need to get no company for around Manfay.
The government has abandoned farmers in Manu Division, Cameroon, as buyers have been buying at 800 francs CFA, while foreign buyers buy their cocoa at 1,500 francs CFA per kilogram.
We decided now to take the cocoa to a cock to see that Nigerians will come there and collect the cocoa from us. When they collect like that, they even give us some advance.
At the divisional office in Manfay, the Manu SDO, Mr. Vian Mekala, says he will forward their worries to the hierarchy.
When The other thing we see, our report, they know what to say, the answer to give to the population.
He also frowned and stated that going to the streets during crisis moments was not ideal. The protesters were asked to return home while waiting for action by the state of Cameroon. Over 500 farmers in Manyu division took to the streets protesting and demanding for an open market for their cocoa produce after the recent decision by the state of Cameroon banning the selling of cocoa produce to Nigerian buyers. The farmers say due to the 6 years armed conflict, they have been selling to Nigerian buyers at Ekok, a border town to Nigeria.
You cannot transport cocoa now from here to Douala because of the insecurity. Neither you get losing of that cocoa or the whole vessel is burned.
The separatist party set ablaze those trucks around Booty with the goods they were carrying. Can you imagine how disheartening it can be to lose your year's work?
They said cocoa farming is their only source of livelihood.
We are pleading.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians. Accept liberation greetings from me today, Comrade John Akuro. And I like to say today is a special broadcast. And during this very special broadcast, we are going to be having Comrade Mark Barra, who will moderate this conversation all the way from London. Comrade Mark is already right on the set. And of course, we are going to be a number of us on the set today. Comrade Mark Barra, myself, John Akuro, Comrade Daphne Yerima of the IG, and Comrade Prizo Agbo, all the way from France, the acting national chairman of the SCNC. And as I said a while ago, this conversation is going to be moderated by Comrade Mark Barra, all the way from London. So, Mark, I guess you can hear me. Hey, Comrade Mark, are you there?
Yes, Comrade Akuro, can you get me?
So, Comrade Mark, over to you. I'm handing the microphone to you, and I will take my posture as a panelist and let you anchor all the way there from London. By the way, how is London today?
London is fine. It's fine. Comrade Akuro.
Okay.
Over here in the United Kingdom is doing well. Let us move straight to the crux of matter. Comrade Briscoe, Comrade Ima, and Comrade Akuro, welcome to this conversation. I think when I was approached to be the host of this conversation, I thought it wise that it is important for our people and for posterity to have us on record, that we can begin to talk amongst ourselves, we can begin to talk to fellow Ambazonians across the globe, for them to understand the nitty gritties behind the Ambazonian All Conference, and now known as the Southern Cameroon's People's Conference. So welcome, Comrade Yerima, Prizo, and Akuro. So before we commence, let me offer a sincere apologies for the late start. I know that some others might be on the screen waiting for this moment. I want to also see this opportunity to send greetings to all our prisoners of war across the jails in the in Cameroon and in Ambazonia, and also to all our refugees in Nigeria, Ghana, and across the world, and especially to all our IDPs, and most especially to all our mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters on the ground, and to our fellow brothers and sisters also across different countries in the diaspora. So, but first, I'll go straight to Comrade Prizo. I'll go straight to Comrade Prizo. Comrade Prizo, why the Southern Cameroon's People's Conference? What is the rationale? What is the reason behind this conference?
Thank you, Comrade Mark. I don't know whether you probably well. Are
Yes, I can
you
get you.
getting me?
Yes.
Thank you, Comrade Mark. Yeah, revolutionary greetings to Comrade Jema, John Bakoro, and Comrade Yerima. Revolutionary greetings to our restoration forces who have been standing very tall to defend our territory. When I place day at every time. Comrade Mark, I think why the SCPC? After Canada, we have realized that there's nothing like the possibility of getting everyone on board to beat the international conspiracy that sees us as a divided people. And we also have noticed that in all the other conferences, it's been more or less about leaders, leaders, leaders. And we said this time it should be uh, a conference of the people where Ambazonians should determine what they want. And that's why we have decided that while we've been struggling to movement, we have moved that fast to touch every part of Amazonia, be it the liberation movement, the government, the self women groups, youth groups, to be sure that all of us come to beat this international that sees us as always a divided people. The enemy has always used this as an opportunity to say, who do I talk with? They are divided. They are just sporadic people fighting. We want to show them that Ambazonians, that's one, have the same objective. The objective and being the determinants of our own future. And that's why we have chosen this as the opportunity to bring everyone together. Personally, and many other leaders, we have made a lot of outreach. I wouldn't rate it. Personally, I've touched almost, if not almost every
Thank Comrade,
and every leader.
Comrade Prizo.
Go ahead,
Thanks very
Comrade.
much for that short brief. We are going to come to the composition of the conference, whom we have reached and whom that you've not been able to reach. Let me cross over to Comrade Damni Girma. The name now, it was known as the All Ambazonian Conference, and a host of our people have in some way do not cherish to be Southern Cameroonian because of the Southern Cameroon part of Cameroon, and because it has still Cameroon attached to it. Many of our people would have preferred the name All Amazonian Conference as it was. Why the change of name to Southern Cameroon's conference? What is the reason behind that?
Well, thank you, Comrade Mac, and fellow comrades in the diaspora. And I want to send revolutionary greetings to all of you and to our brave liberation fighters on the ground, and also our brave comrades on the ground who are going through what is really making us to call this conference and speak as one voice and as one people. Why the name change? It was as a result of, after a lot of consultations and understanding that the way we are recognized or being considered, in documents, in the United Nations, or in the international arena, it was advisable. We were advised that it is better that we change the name to the Southern Cameroon's People's Conference instead of the Ambazonian People's Conference. So we consulted amongst ourselves and also with elders in the revolution, and we came to a conclusion that in order that it will give the significance that we want and meeting to the objectives that we've set for ourselves and the goal to liberate homeland, and also getting sympathy from the people who understand what we are fighting for in the international community. It was wise for us to change the name to the Southern Cameroon's People's Conference. And that was unanimously agreed by all the stakeholders who are planning this conference, which today we are encouraging all Ambazonians to register and be part of it, because we believe that all of us must participate in this project of liberating ourselves, and all voices must be heard. It's
All right.
not a one show, it is a collective engagement.
Mm. Thank you, Comrade Damni Yerima. Um, the many ambassadors that I've spoken to, they are asking why the conference, where did the idea came from, that this conference is necessary at this point in time. Comrade John Ba Akuro, you came from the ground. You started this revolution from the ground, and you belong to one of the people's movement, as far as I'm aware, the consortium. Why the conference? Who started this idea of this conference at this point in time?
Well, Mark, thank you very much. I must state very equivocally, or rather unequivocally, that the idea of this conference was mooted uh, after the successful outing or participation of delegates of the various groups, movements, and organizations at the pre-talks between La République du Cameroon and Ambazonia in Toronto, Canada. And after those talks, the kind of solidarity, the kind of cooperation that was demonstrated there, and the strength that it showed, the effect it had on La République and the members of the international community present, actually caused us to realize that in unity there will be greater strength. I suppose that Comrade Yerima is going to speak more to this, but I'm just giving you a feel of what this whole thing was and of how it came about. So that is why you notice that we have taken time, a lot of time, to do a lot of a lot of consultations, because this conference is supposed to be a game changer. In fact, it has to be a game changer. It should not be a conference like all the other conferences that we've had, And when we emerge from it, perhaps we'll benefit of the fruits or the momentum just for a few weeks, and then everything is over. Our ambition is to ensure that when we come off this conference in Toronto, La République du Cameroon, and of course the entire global community should see clearly that the people of the southern Cameroons, the people of Ambazonia, really, really are out for independence and nothing short of independence. We
All right,
we recognize that what we have been doing thus far is good. We've maintained the steam. We've been able to, choke La République du Cameroon on our territory, but we have to go further. And the time to go further is now. Yes, Mark.
all right, thank you very much, Comrade Akuro. You did mention that the idea of this conference came from the successful uh, pre-dialogue or whatever that team, the team of Ambazonia held with La République du Cameroon, and that has joggled my mind back to think of what one of the representatives who claimed, I will say claimed because we will not receive any official communication from the participants of the conference to say this movement attended, this person represented this movement. So I'm going to use the word claim. And one of the representatives, that is Capo Daniel, who claimed to have been present during the meeting. He came out on a number of occasions and has blamed side of Amazonia for causing La Republic to pull out of the talks, or La Republic refusing to sign uh, uh, the commitment. What now? Trade on the screen. Any of you can answer. Any of you can answer.
Well,
What can
Mark,
you
I can take
what
that. Mark, yes, Mark,
about this?
I can absolutely take that question. I'd like to let you know that we have come to a conclusion that we will have to communicate on Canada, and we are going to communicate on Canada in the days ahead. You definitely will be informed, and all Southern Cameroonians will be informed. This is very important because we were simply calm, not because we felt that we don't have anything to say, not because we were being disrespectful of the people of Amazonia, not because we were being fearful of anything. We were simply trying to be real good players, understanding how international relations operate, understanding how matters of negotiations are navigated through. And so, therefore, our silence was actually meant to help and not to destroy the process. We know that the people were itchy and anxious to know exactly what happened, and we're also aware that sometimes when there's silence, you must have charlatans come to fill the empty gap. But finally, we have discussed and we have the clearance to come out to the people of the Southern Cameroons and to tell them exactly what happened in Canada. The composition of the team that will be making this communication will also be made known. So I just wanted to interject and let you know about this so you understand that we are not even going to be delving into that as far as this particular communication is concerned, because we are working towards that and it's going to be extremely soon because that communication has become urgent.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you very
Mark,
much.
and just Mark, just to add to that, we are just keeping
Okay.
to the communication protocol that we agreed to during the pre-talks. And we know that we owe a duty to talk to our people, but we have to talk to them in the right way. We had a team that represented us there, and I believe that the leader of that team should be the one who communicates about the pre-talks to the Ambazonian people, not people who want to use it for political gains. So we've agreed that we'll be coming to talk to the Ambazonian people, and that will be announced shortly, and then we'll get the real reports of what happened in Canada. The true reports, I should say the true ones.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Dabney. We will let that for now. Comrade Prizo, what are the compositions who is allowed to attend this conference and who is not allowed to attend this conference? Are you envisaging a room full of hundred thousands or a few representative that get across that get across different sectors of Amazonia, from bike riders to prisoners to fighters to women, old, young groups? So can you shed more light on it, please?
Thank you, Comrade Mark. I think that is in the core of this conference. The core of the conference is that it should be the Amicus conference, and that it should be represented by all. But like you said, we all know that everybody cannot be there, but we are making sure that every person's voice is heard through their representatives, and that's why we're working on representation perspectives. There are those who are going to be present physically, there are those who are going to be present visually and otherwise. But most importantly, what we've done is we have reached to everyone who is well, whom we think is necessary, and I think every Ambazonian is necessary. We have not even excluded those we thought is even risky for them to partake, which is even the restoration forces, our refugees, the prisoners. Everybody has been touched. So essentially, what we've been saying is that the difference between this conference and all other conferences is that this is the conference of the people of Ambazonia. The decision should be that of Ambazonia. And so every group, every movement, every people, every civil society is in touch with it. And they are going to be represented in one way or another. They might not be as it is. You also know that location is a problem. We are not going to say over 8 million Ambazonians are going to be present all in Canada, but we are assuring each and everyone that these people will be represented through might be their movements, groups, even we have also seen that just people have been gotten in touch with who can, in one way or another, represent some other people. Essentially, it is the People's Conference, and it is going to remain the People's Conference. Their voices, and I want to add that while we struggling to get this done, we have put a schema in which Ambazonians have started contributing, working on what they want on each subject. People have already registered on the various thematics they want to the discussions which are already taking place. So this conference is not only going to, you all know, within the 3 days, we cannot discuss all the problem of Amazonia. So before even that day, much of the work will be done by Ambazonians so that every resolution that will be taken should be the Ambazonian People's Revolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Priso. Comrade Yerima, as the leader of the interim government, many of our people in the diaspora, they are aware that we have different groups and different factions of the interim government. They have been worried that for so long, groups and Amazonians in the diaspora, we have divided ourselves along the lines of leaders of different ideologies or whom we support a lot. They're expecting that this conference should be able to bring together the major or majority of the stakeholders. So, what are you both doing to bring together everyone on board? When I talk everyone on board, I'm referring to the Chris Ano, the Sakos, the Bo Herberts, the Akwangas, the Yabas, and everyone.
Well, thank you, Comrade Mark. That is a very interesting question. And the good thing is we had This conference was organized in two parts. The first one is, we did like the pre-conference activities, which had to do with reaching out and reconciling with the different stakeholders within the Ambazonian revolution. We as leaders, we had meetings and we decided to engage other stakeholders. Comrade Prizo had a group of other stakeholders he was supposed to engage in. I was given a responsibility to engage with others. Comrade John had the same responsibility to engage. And also the other stakeholders who are in the SCPC platform, they had other stakeholders to engage. CDN also took responsibility of engaging elders and the international community to participate in this conference. But I will say that we have reached out to everyone whom we deem necessary. When our people talk about the issues of the different IGs and within our revolution, what we have to understand is there is no group within the revolution that can run this revolution on her own. We can only collaboratively do this. And that is why we took time to reach out to every Ambazonian. I can say the representatives of all Ambazonians, whether it's Sako, whether it's Bo Hubbard, Kwanka was even present during the concept and preparation of this conference. Same as Dr. Chuayaba, who also was present in the concept and preparation. And then somewhere along the line, they dropped out. So, but we had to continue because it's the right thing to do. And people must make choices and sometimes make very difficult choices and hard choices. And we believe that this is the right way to go because when you look carefully within our liberation struggle, you'll see that we have always put the cart before the horse. And it was necessary for us this time to put the horse before the cart. And that is what, taking the revolution back to the Ambazonian people to make those difficult decisions for themselves. They will be also able to sustain their revolution, thereby building some kind of cohesion amongst themselves. And that is why the first initiative was reconciliation. That brings cohesion, that brings understanding, and it gives us the opportunity to work together and understand ourselves and work positively or reset the revolution towards the right direction so that the objectives that we want, we are going to attain them. And as leaders with lots of experience in our fight for liberation for homeland, we know that no one group or individual, like I said, can do it all. So, because of the attitude of putting the horse before the cart, putting the cart before the horse, you've realized that we've lost the main objective of our revolution, which is the people's revolution. If we see what is happening in the world today, why is the West afraid to attack Niger? Because the people of Niger is supporting the military junta. But we are at a stage in our revolution where it is counterproductive because of some of the actions or the things that some of us are doing within our revolution that is setting our people against us. And because of that aspect of always putting the cart before the horse, we see a lot of indiscipline, mismanagement of our resources, lies telling and blackmails of individuals and groups on social media, and even the creation of warlords. We see that. And we cannot afford to run our revolution like this, because what it does is it only benefits a genocidal invader.
Comrade Yarima, let me follow up with you. You mentioned the issue of reconciliation. Reconciliation. Do you actually think that you've achieved you've achieved reconciliation? If yes, how? If no, why? If yes, why was it that, as far as I'm aware, Comrade Comrade Ayaba's Egofsi pulled out, and we are having another conference in Maryland as we do speak.
Thank you, Comrade Mark, for that question. We have achieved reconciliation, and I believe there are many, many efforts that we've put in. Comrade John can recall, Comrade Prizo can recall. There are lots and lots of efforts that we had put before to making sure that we can get a collaborative platform. But thanks to CDM, after the Canadian retreat, we're able to form the Southern Cameroon's People's Platform, SCPC, that all of us are there. Even Comrade Cho was there, Comrade Ayaba was there. All of us who were in that retreat came back, and we agreed that we formed this collaborative platform. In that same platform, there were lots and lots of projects that were contributing and working together. But all of a sudden, if somebody comes up and tells you, according to the policy of our group, we cannot be here, or somebody just decides to leave the collaborative platform, what do? You have to continue with the work, because you are looking at what? The bigger picture. You are not looking at maybe trying to satisfy your ego or trying to make yourself a strong man. What you're trying to do is you're taking the people along in their revolution to liberate themselves. And that is the right thing that we're supposed to do. It's not about being very strong man within the revolution and show that you have a lot of power. It's you can only have power when you carry the people along. And that is why we thought it wise that the right thing to do is to get the revolution back to the people, get the people to take control of their revolution. But we understand that there are certain ills that has happened in our revolution. We know those who are working for their self-interest. Take, for instance, you invited us to the reconciliatory program that in Belgium. We came there, and all of us went down on our knees and called on Ambazonians to say, this is the spirit. The liberation spirit starts by, reconciling amongst ourselves, because in the beauty of our diversity, that is what gives us strength, the strength to liberate ourselves. But when we look at it as a weakness, or some people believe that when we come together, when we collaborate together, they become weakened, they will run out of any form of collaboration. And that is what we are identifying. And it's something that we have noticed that certain stakeholders is just a pattern for certain stakeholders within our liberation struggle. And we have also realized that with that kind of attitude, it just keeps us turning circles, standing on one point, try to reinvent the wheel, which is very impossible to do. So we need to take that decision, that very strong decision, to do what is right for the interests of all Ambazonians.
Thank you very much, Comrade John Bar Akuro. In my earlier comments, I mentioned that as we speak, I know that there is another conference. I think online. I think probably online. I don't know if it's face to face, ongoing in Maryland, where we have Dr. Fontaine, Mark Chebs, Lee Neman, Barrister Bob Gar, Elvis Kometa, and Chris Anu's section of the interim government. What are you doing to reconcile this two, to bring these two together? Because the truth is, Amazonians are worried. They are worried that at this stage we still have groups or persons not willing to compromise, to talk together. So, has the Southern Cameroon People's Conference given up for, to reach out to them? How can you do? What can you do to reconcile the fact that they are going ahead?
Yeah, Comrade Mark, thank you very much. I should say that the conversation or the discussions or the meeting going on in Maryland is not actually a conference because that's not how they call it. They called it a consultation meeting. And so when you are able to do that rectification, because they themselves initially called it a conference, and afterwards they came back to make a correction to say it was a consultation. And I mean, we have continued to be in touch with everybody. We have continued to be in touch with all those who are involved. You know, we have seen some people, both in leadership and otherwise, come on social media, cast aspersions, call people names and all of those kind of things. But one thing you must be assured about is resolutely, we are determined to stay committed, completely committed to bringing everyone together when we meet in Toronto in October. And I get echoes that even at those consultative talks, they also agree that the end result is to make sure that they are able to come up with clear-cut positions that they will bring to the table in Canada during the upcoming Southern Cameroon's People's Conference, so that we have, a general conversation. I might be mistaken, but that's at least what has filtered out of there to me. That they are also looking forward to this conference, and they are putting together ideas, trying to take some key positions, trying to come up with some resolutions that should enrich the discussions that we go to have in Canada. Even if there are going to be some people still hesitating on that side, we have decided that even if we are insulted, berated, called names, even if they tell us that what we learned in school is simply water, we are not going to be discouraged because we know what we are up against. We know what we have before us. We know the task that the people of the Southern Cameroons expect us to complete. We know that, the world that has watched us since 2016 to this date is still trying to understand what clear-cut direction we are taking. They know we've been talking about independence. They know a lot of our brave hearts have given their lives on ground zero, but they still want to see from us some solid actions that demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that we have taken a determined march to walk away from any form, any form of association with La République du Cameroon. We are not shy in recognizing that it's going to be a very difficult task. Bringing everyone together. But one thing that we are certain about is that we will continue trying, such that at the end of the day, anyone who doesn't join us finally from the 5th to the 8th of October in Toronto decidedly um, perhaps doesn't really share the same vision that we have for a free, independent, and prosperous Ambazonia. Because I know that even with the dragging of feet and all of those things, sometimes people still want a few clarifications about certain things. We are generous about making available, all those who have the possibility to explain. We are determined to set aside time from our various busy schedules to go out there and meet whomever. That's why we continue to have meetings on a daily basis, even with people who tell us that we are the worst kind of human beings ever created by God. We still believe that even in those kind of circumstances, there's a possibility, there's always that last chance to have a good conversation together. Comrade Mark, I want you to note one thing. Don't you ever forget, because sometimes we do forget. Don't you ever forget that the enemy we have before us is one of the greatest actors when it comes to the promotion of the notion of divide and rule. And I want us to know this, This is a message all Ambazonians need to open their ears and listen to very carefully. La République du Cameroon believes in the passage of time. They are convinced that by day and by night, because they've sent bandits, they've sent even military people who dress like our self-defense volunteers to be in our communities and to wreak havoc continually on the people, so that the people feel that this is all that is left of our self-defense volunteers, that each passing day they recruit at least 2 or 3 people who were diehards of the struggle turning against the struggle. So for them, 50 years, 60 years, 100 years will be just welcome. They tell themselves that they did it with the destruction of the opposition in Cameroon. Of course, they did. You notice from 1990, the opposition was so strong such that nobody expected that by 2000, Paul Biya will still be anywhere closer to power. But today, everybody is seeing before their very eyes that if Paul Biya were to live for the next 100 years, he will still be president in that country for the next 100 years. Because they
That's
use
right.
the divide and rule tactic. If you let go, they will sink into you. So we,
Okay.
as a people in Ambazonia, should recognize that the more we tear ourselves together, the more we are getting into La République du Cameroon's playbook. When we come to that realization that this is who we are up against, we will recognize that La République du Cameroon's greatest weapon in this war is time. They don't care. As 3 soldiers, 15 soldiers, 20 soldiers fall on the battlefield, they are hiring more because poverty is a public policy in La République du Cameroon. The people are so seriously poor that they will still prefer to send their children in the army in the pious hope that those children may not make it to the battlefront and may not die after all and will win bread for the family. So La République du
All right.
Cameroon is certain of constantly
Thank
having
you.
more people to send to the front to go and die while time passes and they count on the passage of time.
Thank you, Comrade Joseph Akuru, for that brief and very important message to our people. I hope that our people are listening to these words of wisdom. Like you said, Cameroon, they don't care about one soldier, 2 soldiers being dead here and there. They depend more on the passage of time, hoping that as time passes, many of us we are going to falter. Our people are going to give up. That brings me to Comrade Prison. Within the course of this revolution from Nigeria to South Africa to Europe, Canada, US, we've had series of conferences because we recognize that there is power in unity. What is the difference between this conference and what we've had before? What benefits will this conference brings to change the game on the ground? Because at the end of the day, it is the effect on the ground that we want to see. What will be the difference between this conference and those that we've had before?
Thank you, Comrade Mark. I think I started talking about this, the difference between this conference and the many other conferences that we've gotten. The difference is that in the many other conferences, it has been about movements, leaders, and we have seen that this has not really achieved the necessary results. And that's why we're putting this differently, moving from the top to down approach, from the down to top approach, where Ambazonians should determine what they want. We have also seen that if you look at the revolution, you've been there as one of the leaders. You've seen that when we had the conference in 2017, 2018, there was that momentum. But when the division propped in, it has been more of politics than the revolution. So we want to go back to the revolutionary measures where we talk about how to bring freedom and not how to fight on our group or our government or our people. We need to fight now for the freedom. We need to fight for the flag, for the emblems, and not for us. And that's why we're looking at it from this perspective. We also said the difference will be that everybody is taking part. The difference is that the resolutions will be the Ambazonian people resolutions, and that will be implemented to the letter. The difference is that we keeping aside our differences, like Martin Luther King Jr. said, we might have our differences, but let the differences not break the bond that is binding us. We know that the bond that is binding all of us here is the freedom of our homeland. So at this point, we have said we want to keep aside the differences and hold on the objective of bringing freedom to homeland. That's why you hear Comrade Yerima, Comrade Akura have talked about the outreach that we've made. Keeping aside the differences, we have gotten in touch with everyone. Might be, I don't know whether we have not touched anybody, but I can assure you that we've touched almost everybody. Personally, I made a majority of the outreach, touching all the governments and the people, gotten replies from those who have given their one excuse or the other. But like I said, the difference of this conference and the other, it is that it is not going to be a leadership conference, it's the Ambazonian People's Conference. Despite the name, I know we have some issues from others, considering the fact that the name is Southern Cameroon People's Congress. Why Southern Cameroon? We're going back. But I think Yerima just splashed that out to say we're using that because historically, this is what we have in the archives. So, Mark, this conference is going to be totally different from the others because we are trying to reconcile. I think that's one of the thematics, reconciliation. Reconcile. We have acknowledged our problem, which is the division. And one of the committees is a reconciliation committee. I know reconciliation, like negotiation, is a process. And this process might certainly be taking long. But with the sincerity we have engaged in it, we're trying to reconcile, find a possibility, not reconcile. Sometimes, I think with the discussions I had with a lot of others, some do not see reconciliation for unity, but they're seeing reconciliation for collaboration. And we have agreed on this, that this is our project. Then the last point, like you said, how is it going to get an impact on ground zero? That is one of the main objectives of this conference. Not for politics, not for grouping. We all agreed that what comes out of the conference is to make ground zero hot and make the enemy feel uncomfortable in our territory so that they can check out and liberate our people. So much of whatever is going to come out of the conference is meant for ground zero. And that's why we are putting everything in place, getting in touch with our restoration forces to let them know so they can hold us accountable if at the end of the conference we do not respect the objective we put in place. And I want to assure you, all of us that agreed to be there are still holding on this objective without reservation. We have also made a promise. If this objective is not going to be respected, we will be the first to come out and say it has not been respected. That's not what we agreed on. So this conference is going to be different because it is going to hold on our objective of freeing homeland and supporting our restoration forces, not forgetting our refugees who are also feeling his home and is in a foreign land, is also feeling it. Not forgetting our prisoners of war, because if they are in prison today, they are not in prison because they committed a crime. They're in prison because they stood firm to say we are not public. So this is our objective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Priso, for that prompt response. I want to go back to the role of the CDN. Comrade Damni, we've had a lot of people in social media, WhatsApp groups, throw aspersions against the CDN. What exactly is the role of the CDN when it comes to this particular conference?
I mean, it's thank you, Comrade Mac. The CDN is just a facilitator. Like you have UCIP, you have what do they call this one in Swiss? There was HD, Norev, and the rest. That is the same status that CDN has. But when you, I want to tell you that we have worked very closely with the CDN from when they were created as the IG. And there were certain times that they called us with the contacts that they have with the international community. They asked for certain information, which we provided to them. So we have had this kind of working relationship with them, and it has continued. We have, sometimes it amazes me to see lots and lots of conspiracy theories about the CDN on social media. And I just believe that CDN has scared a lot of people amongst our ranks, a lot of comrades. And I now advise them that it's better you go closer to CDN. I will tell you, CDN has worked as a facilitator, especially during the retreat that we had in Canada. They were the ones who helped that we came together on the platform. The SPC platform is successful today because of the works of CDN. CDN has also helped us to reach, to dig deeper into our diplomatic endeavors through their contacts. And also, during the pre-talks, CDN was very strategic, being there, and the role they played as far as, they are playing as facilitators now in this conference, but the role that they played during the Canadian pre-talks, where they were there ready to provide for Ambazonians, the experts, experts in negotiation at any time that we called that we needed them. They made sure that we had an expert, a renowned expert. And they were ready to talk to us, advise us, and tell us how we're going to approach La République du Cameroon in that peace talks. So that is the role that CDN is playing within our liberation struggle. So they always say, like Jesus was rejected by the Jews. That is just the same way some of us are trying to reject CDN. But I believe that CDN will be there, and CDN will continue to be there. We're going to continue to work with them, because we have realized that with them, we've been more productive working with them. And I believe that working with them also has really taken our revolution forward in terms of our engagements with the international community. So
we could rightly say that CDN is Ambazonian's own HD, Swiss HD. It is Ambazonian's own NGO. It is just like a prophet is not welcome in its own hometown.
Comrade Mark, you can't look at them from that perspective. CDN is also an international NGO. They
have the same status as an international organization.
Sure.
That's what we're saying. We're not saying that it's an Ambazonian HD. No. It's an international organization that has the same status like HD, like USIP. So they can also do other, this kind of work they're doing with us with other countries around the world.
Okay, that's
so right. That's what we're talking about.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Comrade Akuro, let's go back to the conference. What do you think will be the main outcome of this conference in Canada? Why should Ambazonians pay their flights from Ghana, Nigeria, Europe, the Americas, Russia, and come to Canada? Why should people pay more than £1,000, dollars, or naira for hotels, for bills? Or that would have just collected all this money and put it on the ground. For example, how can you convince me that Mark Barretta I should come to Canada? What would be the main outcome if you can summarize. Why are you telling people to come to Canada?
Well, Comrade Mark, you definitely will understand that getting to Canada is not like we are going to sit, but in Toronto when we meet there on the 5th to the 8th of October to produce that magic one. Right now, we are consulting with one another. Right now, we are talking with each other. There are a lot of things that are already being done even before we get to that conference because, like I said a while ago, what we want is that when we emerge from that conference, this liberation movement should witness a change in strategy. This is very important. It should witness a change in strategy. We have to give our liberation movement greater teeth now. We have done a lot. I really want to, absolutely from the bottom of my heart, congratulate our prisoners of war. I want to congratulate Comrade Sisi Julius Ayuktabe and all the members of his cabinet that are in Kondengi. I want to congratulate Comrade Abdul Karim, who had the chance to really escape. He's been to the diaspora a couple of times, gone back, was even jailed. He came away from jail, came to the diaspora, went back and continued to stand firm. Right now, he's in jail. He had a way too of flying, but he didn't. We have a lot of our brave hearts down there who every day, when they are going out there to go and defend homeland, they know that they are moving with death in their hands. They go. They sometimes get to the battlefield. They see their comrades fall right before them, but they come away from there, still get their loins, still prepare and go back to the front. That should inform you that those of us in the diaspora, it's true we have failed a couple of times. Or I should say that we have had mitigated results from some of the conferences that we have had this far, beginning from the Washington Collaborative Conference through the All Southern Cameroon People's Conference. And of course, we really think so strongly that we have attained that level where the people now know that there is strength in unity. Because we have seen groups that actually felt that all by themselves they could do it have even witnessed implosions. It tells you, it tells me that as Ambazonians, we have been struggling to find common grounds. That's why we are going through all of those things. And at the end of the day, we think that Toronto should provide us that opportunity to attain that common ground, that critical moment necessary for us to change the dynamics of this struggle. Some people will sit and say, oh no, La Republique is a game star, they will continue to play games. Of course, we saw them play games in Switzerland. That one was even so glaring from the start. They came to Canada, they pretended to be, serious and all of those things. The international community was represented, everything. And at the end of the day, they did what they did. The reason is simple. Because we have not attained that critical moment in this liberation war called the mutual hurting stalemate between the two parties. We have to get La République du Cameroun to that place where La République du Cameroun begins to choke and should be that party that begins to seek negotiations. I said this from day one. The day the government of La République du Cameroun becomes the party running helter-skelter around the world, seeking mediation opportunities, things will change. Mediation will happen. Peace talks will be held. Decisions will be made. Resolutions will be arrived at, and they will be respected. I want to quote you a simple example. I want to take for you the example of East Timor. The East Timorians fought the first time. It was so hard. They fought so hard. Their elites, just like our own misguided people, fought against them. They stood with the enemy. They stood with the adversary. And the people of East Timor were ultimately defeated that first time. They never gave up. They went back. They recalibrated. They looked at their weak points. And then they came back, much stronger than they were before. And they ultimately forced the government of Indonesia to be the one to start seeking mediation opportunities. Go to the history books, they will tell you that it was the president of Indonesia that contacted the Secretary General at the United Nations at the time, Kofi Annan, to request that they organize a referendum in East Timor So the people of East Timor should decide. And the reason was simple, because all the time the so-called elite who claimed to represent the voices of the people, just like it is the case with the Southern Cameroons, kept giving the impression to the government of Indonesia that they were in control of the situation. And so when matters got to a head and the government of Indonesia was choking from a very tiny East Timorian population, they finally had to say, okay, let's decide it this way. Let there be a referendum so we know the truth. And when the government of Indonesia realized the truth from the result of the referendum, what did they do? They had to wash their hands off East Timor, and they gathered those elite that deceived them because they could have made better peace with East Timor. They gathered them all and pushed them into the hands of the people of East Timor that these are the traitors, take them. This elite wanted to stay in Indonesia. It did not work. So what I want to say here is we are dealing with a situation that is dicey. What we need to do is strategize. And Toronto, this conference in Canada, is that unique opportunity where we have to sit and take the final deadly move to push La République du Cameroon to get to that choking point when they recognize that the only way out will be to seek for negotiations. Thanks.
Comrade Akulo, thank you very much. I must say that as a former CROTV strongman, you've succeeded to give me a good reason to come to Canada. And what I took from that analysis that you gave, that we are going to recalibrate, to look at our mistakes and see how the strategies are going to be changed on the ground. And it is true, the people of Indonesia and East Timor, and so if you look at what our elites are doing, I quite believe that at some point beer would have come on the table, because our elites keep telling him and the rest, don't worry yourself. These people, they are not in charge. We are in control. We're going to take it back. So yes, I think it is important that we recalibrate in Canada and bring in place strategies that will make Cameroon to beg for mediation and for us to have the advantage. So I think I've gone through all the possible questions that I wanted to ask, but I'm just going to go one last round, like a summary, because we are already more than an hour. So I want that our conversation should not be too long, so that those who are unfortunate not watching live, they can come back and have some good 1 hour watch. I think we should come again more often, to look at different angles, bring different actors to talk about. I'm going to begin with
Yeah,
Comrade.
Comrade Mark.
Yes, please.
Yes, there's a question here. If you look at the chat, there's a
Okay.
question there from someone. I think this is from one Emmanuel. So, is it Emmanuel? So, no, I think this is from Resp. He says, what is the groupism in this liberation movement? We all know that our people are called Ambazonians. Now, some groups say they are Southern Cameroons and are convening reconciliatory conference. I think this is an area that perhaps we need to pay some heed to, because usually these are areas where people hang on. I mean, some kind of nitty gritties and try to extrapolate from there and create a mountain out of an anthill. I think it's important for us to let our people know this very significant truth. Our country historically is known as Southern Cameroons. In fact, if you go through the history book, it's called the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons. Endele was Prime Minister of which country? He wasn't Prime Minister of Ambazonia. He was Prime Minister of Southern Cameroons. After Endele Foncha was Prime Minister of Southern Cameroons. Now, this is what we need to know. the ambition of the people of the southern Cameroons is to rename our country Ambazonia. As soon as we kick La République du Cameroon out of our territory, we will rename our country Ambazonia. Do you know that sometimes Burkina Faso was called Upper Volta? It really was called Upper Volta. It wasn't called Burkina Faso. So the name Ambazonia is an intention. And the good news is, a crushing majority of our people have adopted the name Ambazonia. But don't forget, don't lose sight of this. At the United Nations, where we still have business to complete, we are known as Southern Cameroons. So therefore, reverting to the name Southern Cameroons once in a while and talking about Ambazonia is not like not recognizing that our people want our country to be called Ambazonia. That's why sometimes you hear us say Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia. And so this mix-up should not be, this is not even a matter that should come for debate because, it's something that is so obvious and so glaring
It's
that we
clear.
should all know. So there's no point creating some conflict around it. Yeah?
It's clear. I think it's clear. Do we have any other question that you can take from any questions that anyone is asking that you can take from the comments?
Yes, Mark, I thought we could open the lines, and I did indicate that anyone who wants to call, and they can call on WhatsApp only, they can use the phone
Okay.
number +1 240 883 6463 6443. I beg your pardon. +1 240 883 6443. So you can call, and Mark, I guess you said we had just about 10 or 15 more minutes
Yes.
left to manage.
No problem. Well, let's wait for anyone who wants to call. But while the call is coming, I would like us to go round and give our winning, I'll call it winning in quotes, a winning statement, why you think Amazonians should really converge in Canada, should go online and register on the website to sacrifice and be part of this initiative. Come Priso, you have 1 minute.
Thank you, Comrade Mark. Like we already have said, our objective is clear, and I think the objective of Ambazonians is clear. But for this objective to go through, we need to converge and agree. I think that's the purpose of Canada. I think we even went as far as saying the resolution signed by groups will be signed by Ambazonian. We want to make it a possibility where it is an Ambazonian affair and not a group affair. And that's why we're inviting everybody to come and take part in it. Those that have felt that they have started before calling them, we've gone through them to say an initiative must be conceived by someone or be brought up by the first person, and others can come in. And even if they come in, they change from the original of the objective to something, but if all of us as a team agree. So Canada is not just there for us to converge, but it is there for us to, as one person, and come up with, I will say, a new beginning, I want to say. Because when we think about revolution today and the division that has propped in, the kind of infighting, Canada is an opportunity for us to put things straight and remind one another that we have just one Ambazonian, not 10. That no one, movement or group or IG, can bring that freedom alone. That we need all hands on deck for us to bring freedom to our people. We have to turn back and look at our suffering people on the land and know that at one point in time, the differences that we have with one another, our egos do not matter. What matters is the way we can go to bring freedom to homeland. Thank you.
Comrade Mark, there's another question here from
Yeah.
that question was from Tabot Sebastian Egbe. I see he just deleted his question. And if he has withdrawn his question, I should let it be. But he was actually asking what efforts are being made to make this particular conference very inclusive And he said, I was saying according to his words because I looked at that some major groups that he knows are not there, and that this seems like it's a conference of small groups. I don't know what response you have for that. Someone picking up that question, Comrade Yerema, maybe, or Comrade Mark?
If Comrade Yerima want me to pick, I could say I don't know what like you said, I don't know which one they
No,
call a major group, but I think
yeah, I said I don't know what they
the
call major
outreach.
groups and small groups. You know, I
Yeah,
also
but
was
I want to
was
look.
was
I
was
want to look
shocked.
on the outreach.
You see, I was shocked at
I want to
sometimes they
instead look at
called
the outreach we've made. Another major. Okay, Vivi,
yeah,
you go
somebody
ahead.
came up
Maybe go ahead.
somebody came up with this issue of big three. I don't know where it came from. People just sit and create things. This is the people's revolution. It is not for groups or individuals. It is for the Amazonian people. And our main goal is to bring the Amazonian people together to take control of their revolution. We should stop these ideas of groups and come together, be part of this conference, because this conference will tackle those complex challenges that we've been encountering in our revolution. And it's going to leverage diverse perspective and also bring some kind of expertise into our revolution. And it's going to what? Amplify the impact on ground zero and also our resources. This conference, we believe if all of us participate in it, it's going to enhance innovation and creativity. It's going to foster social cohesion and empowerment. And if we can come together, reason together, and work for the interest of our people, I believe that we will achieve these results. And these are the dying results that we want to achieve as a people in our God-given revolution. We are going to have shared vision and values. We are going to have effective communications and trust. We are going to, come up with clear roles and responsibilities of the different stakeholders within our revolutions and those of the volunteers. We know that it's just been volunteers who've been running our revolution, but the people will need to specify the roles and support them in these roles and responsibility. We are going to also have maybe collective leadership, collaborative leadership, and we'll have what? Flexibility and adaptability. It will not be my way, it will not be your way, but we are going to be able in the future, going forward, to reason together, because our main objective is first to liberate homeland, and thereafter we will choose those who are going to lead us. And moreover, it's going to help us mobilize resources, and we will be able to sustain our revolution. So don't miss being part of this historic conference. And that is what makes the difference of all the conferences that we've had as a people. So don't miss it. If you cannot attend, make your voice heard through the different thematic committees. Reach out. I think there are flyers out there how you can reach out to us, the conveners of this conference. We're being helped by CDN to facilitate it. Please, we are open. The door is open for all Ambazonians. And even as we'll be coming out of Canada, the door will still be with powerful resolutions that will push our revolution forward. The door will still be open for those who are still standing on the fence. And when you ask yourself the question, am I standing on the right side of history? While we are moving forward, while others are moving forward, I think it will give you that reason to say, I want to join the moving train to Boya. And that opportunity is yours. We're giving it to you to come to Canada from October 5th to 8th, participate in that conference, and let's come up with resolutions for the interest of our people. And we, the people, will come up with those resolutions that will take this revolution to the status that we want. And I believe that it's going to stop most of the ills on ground zero, like kidnappings, you can name the rest. So, fellow comrades, don't miss this opportunity that your country is giving you to be part of our liberation.
Thank you very much, Comrade Damni, for that very conclusive invite for Ambazonians to come to Canada and to participate in the upcoming conference. Comrade Akuro, you have the floor now for your concluding statement.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Mark. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to, say these few last words to the people of Ambazonia. I have been keen with respect to the comments, and because I've really been keen on hearing what people are thinking and saying about this upcoming conference. When I see someone say, after 7 years, talking and talking is no longer to be tolerated, I want to say I cannot agree with you more. Now listen, when I see a question or reaction like someone say, can you tell us what your specific groups, or you as individuals have been doing on ground zero in the past 4 years? I have the habit of telling people that is a very dubious question. Dubious question with respect to the fact that you fail to understand that what has been sustained, or what has sustained the liberation movement of ground zero to this date, are unsung heroes, are people that you don't know, are people whose names you don't know, whose faces you have not seen and you may never see. Perhaps only those who are in the secret of this whole things will get all of this out when the time comes and the history of our liberation movement is written. It is not coming to the airwaves to back every day. Oh, I have 15 soldiers there. I have 10 foot soldiers here. I have 23 in this place. That really shows that you are participating. A good lot of people who are not making noise, who are not talking, are making things happen on ground zero. 90% of the time, people have actually claimed actions they did not carry out. And this is known, but no one cares. Why is it that those who carry these actions don't care when others claim responsibility? Because these people are looking at the flag. They are patriots. No one, it is not about coming to take credit for it is me who had done it. No, let's be very clear here. This is guerrilla warfare. You don't know what people are doing. Everyone is contributing one way or the other. There are people whom you even see with the word to say Ambazonia, say, don't mention that you're Ambazonia by me here. But go to their homes in the deep of the night. They are in permanent communication with brave hearts on the ground, providing supplies, providing water, providing food, providing money for them to treat themselves when they are wounded. It's not because you come and sit on social media and oh, it is only me. I can talk to this commander here, I can talk to that commander there, I can talk. Listen, let's be very clear. Toronto is an opportunity for us to move from speeches and resolutions to action. This is what it is about. And that's why it has taken us this long time. We didn't start talking about it today. We started talking about this even before the end of 2022. And finally, we are going to hold it in October of 2023. That should tell you that all this time that we took to make these preparations, to lay this groundwork, is because we know what we want to achieve. It's because we are aware that the time for speeches and resolutions is over. Let me be very clear here. When von Roon and von Moltke, along with Bismarck, stood up and said, the issue of German reunification will no longer be decided by the speeches and resolutions of the majorities, but by blood and iron. They were ending an era of constant meeting and talking and not going anywhere and moving to the era of action. We must understand, everything matures to the point where it is embraced. People have been working hard. people are working very hard. There are people doing everything in the background to make sure that after Toronto, we see a different face on the ground. I see some people chattering their teeth, like the ones who sat in Tuba with a colonial divisional officer and were making us yo, 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 and I was laughing because I was saying Ambazonia is coming. Nothing will stop us. We are unstoppable and we will be unstoppable until La République du Cameroon gets out of our territory. It definitely will never be business as usual. So we are aware of this. That's why we're heading to Toronto. And that's why I'm urging you, even you who are doubting, come over, sit with us. Let's discuss. We know that La République du Cameroon has set a lot of people to come in to try to create confusion, to try to raise issues that should dampen the minds of the people. We also are not unaware that they'll try to send people there to come and infiltrate to see if they can cause confusion. We are taking care of all of those. Folks, 7 years is not 7 days. We know exactly what we want, and we now have a clear idea how to get there. We simply need to dot the I's and cut the T's in Toronto. That's why we're inviting you to join us. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much, Comrade Akuru. One last question before we go. I just remembered one of my contacts just requested that I ask this question. In terms of the composition, the conference is geared at looking at all Ambazonians, or let me say all Southern Cameroonians. Are we saying that, are we going to welcome those who have federalist tendencies, those who call themselves West Cameroonians? Are we going to have bishops, priests, imams, all those people from different sectors of our land, or only those who preach an independent Southern Cameroons will be in attendance? Are you expecting to have people from who have different views on how our future, our land, Southern Cameroon should look like? Anyone can answer.
What I'll say, Mark, is
another
this.
comrade
Comrade, please go ahead.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
going to say the conference is open to all Ambazonians. You cited some group of people who are also part of what we envisage to have, like say the Christian groups, but we're not going to say here clearly whether federalists who are also part of Ambazonian, they have an opinion whether they're going to be there or not. But like we said, it is an open conference for all Ambazonians, except for because when we say Ambazonians, we mean people who want freedom either partially or fully. But those that are for La Republic cannot be part of the conference. I don't think they're all going to come because the purpose of the conference is bringing Ambazonians together so that we speak from one direction. And what are we speaking about? We're speaking about the freedom of homeland. So I don't think we're going to welcome. We're preparing. It's like a pre-talk. We're preparing to confront La Republic. We cannot be bringing La Republic in that conference. It is an Ambazonian conference. So clearly, it is not for La Republic. It is not even for the international community. There can be might be observers, but it is purely an Ambazonian conference where Ambazonians want to commune with themselves, come out with a clear-cut roadmap on how to prosecute the war that has been launched on us and see how we can fast-track this revolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Prizo. Thank you, fellow Ambazonians, all those who join the show live on this platform as well as on Facebook. Thanks to everyone who've listened. thank you, Comrade Prizo Akuro and Tamni Yerima, for being part of this conversation. I hope that we also have different personalities, different groups, different thematic representatives in the thematic groups will come also live like this to discuss what they are doing, not like letting the cat out of the bag, but trying to give an idea of the direction where the conference is going. And I want to pray that you guys continue working hard, continue to push, continue to talk to all the other groups that are still on the sidelines, that are still to come on board, because there is unity there is power in unity. We need to get the ball rolling on the ground once again. So thanks to you, and we've come to the end of this conversation. I hope, pray that God should bless all of you, wherever you are, in France, in Holland, and also in USA. And may God bless Amazonia. Bye bye.
Thank you, Comrade Mark. Thank you, Comrade Akoro.
Thank you,
And thank you,
Comrade
Comrade
Mark,
Jeremy.
Comrade John, and Comrade Prizo